Hey, what's up, community? It is Ryan Franken. Welcome back to the KidzMatter Podcast. It's been a few weeks. We had a wonderful KidzMatter conference, and we recorded a ton of great content that's going to be coming really, really soon to the KidzMatter Podcast. Thank you so much for coming to the conference, and thank you for your feedback. We already have sold nearly 1,000 tickets for next year's event, and it's a year away. How crazy is that? So I think 2025 is even going to be a bigger and better year than the KidzMatter Conference 2024. Go check out thekidzmatterconference.com to learn more about our 2025 event happening early in October next year. Well, friends, we have a lot of new members to KidzMatter Pro. Several hundred of you signed up for KidzMatter Pro during the KidzMatter conference. If you don't know what KidzMatter Pro is a membership site that will help kidmin leaders like yourself lead a growing, healthy children's ministry. So you get access to this member-only site where we have master classes every month and a members-only podcast and special bonuses that come your way every month. We even send stuff in the mail to you every once in a while. You get a magazine subscription and a lot more. And it's really a support network, a community to help you push through the overwhelm and lead a growing, healthy ministry. Well, today I did open office hours for KidzMatter Pro members. We had a lot of people on Zoom, a little bit of teaching, and then we opened it up for questions. We went about an hour, and I want to share that recording with you today. I think you'll find a lot of value from the questions that were asked. In addition to the teaching I did at the beginning around the 3 P's or priorities that you need to have in place if you're going to lead a solid kids ministry. So by the way, if you've never heard of KidzMatter Pro, you've heard of KidzMatter, of course, you're listening to the KidzMatter podcast. If you're not familiar with KidzMatter Pro, go to kidzmatter.com/pro. It really is that easy. You can start a free 30-day trial. I love it. Our team loves it, but I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to try it for yourself. Go to KidzMatter with a Z, kidzmatter.com/pro. Learn all about KidzMatter Pro and start your free 30-day trial. Now, with that being said, here's the replay from our call earlier today, our open office hours that were made available exclusively to our KidzMatter Pro members. Hope that you enjoy. Book recommendation. Here's a good book if you have not read it. This is not a KidzMatter book. I'll recommend one of those next. It is called Crazy Busy by Kevin DeYoung, Pastor Kevin DeYoung. Crazy Busy. Crossway publishes this book. It is only 115 pages, it looks like, 118 pages. It is an easy read about a major problem that we all need to be aware of. And it is the epidemic of busyness. Now, Kevin DeYoung makes a really good point in this book saying there is nothing wrong with being busy. I enjoy being busy. Where busyness becomes a problem is when it gets in the way of important things in your life, like your walk with the Lord and like your family and like getting important things done that you really need to get done. That's when busyness becomes a problem. So he also does a good job talking about why we're busy. Because the truth is, we're not always busy because we have a lot to do. A lot of times we're busy because of pride, because of insecurity, because of fear, because of the need that we have to please our boss, to please people. So we get so busy. The problem is we get running this rat race and it keeps us from what's really important. So here's my book recommendation of the day, Crazy Busy by Kevin DeYoung, published by Crossway. All right, here is my book recommendation that KidzMatter published and released at the conference. Y'all probably saw it. It's called The Volunteer's Guide to Kidmin. Written by Corey Jones, KidzMatter board member Corey Jones. You know Corey. This is a 119-page book, but look how small it is. It was written to be read in under an hour. We had 5 different people test this for us, and they read it anywhere from 38 minutes to 50 minutes. Nobody went over 50 minutes. So it's a quick, easy read for your volunteers. You can buy these in 10 packs. They're a great gift for volunteers. Go to KidzMatter.com and go to the store. In fact, I think when we relaunched the website, yeah, it's KidzMatterStore.com is the direct link, but you can get there from KidzMatter.com. And there are 2 good books for you. Okay, now let me talk about busyness for a minute and priorities before we get to questions. Okay, because your life is dictated by the priorities that you place in your life. Okay, we each do what we prioritize is the bottom line, right? So you might say, well, I'm too busy to do this. Well, you do what's important to you. I do what's important to me every day. That's why I've got to make sure that what's important to me is in check. My priorities. Here are 3 P's that you need to get right. First of all is your walk with the Lord. But because I went to a Baptist seminary and I'm a pastor, I'm going to have all of these start with the same letter. Okay, so we're going to put prayer at the top. Prayer should be your top priority. And by prayer, think more than just prayer. Think your walk with the Lord, your time in His Word, the time, fellowshipping with other believers. This is what I mean by prayer. Now, Acts chapter 6. Okay, where's my Bible? Where did it go? Okay, it's not within an arm's reach. Acts chapter 6. The disciples find themselves so busy that they're like, hey, we've got to get some help. And so if you remember, they were so busy serving the church, the early church, they didn't have time for the word and prayer. And so they found some help. Some men that were like, hey, we need you to wait the tables and help us do the ministry so that we can devote ourselves to the word and prayer. And the truth is, some of us are just so busy, KidzMatter Pro members, that we forget about our walk with the Lord. Okay, so that's priority number 1. Priority number 2, because we're starting them all with P's. People are a priority. The ministry is all about people. Remember, our call is to go and make disciples. Okay. Now, who are the most important people in your life? I think it's your family, right? Your kids. So make sure that your kids are a priority. Your family's a priority. Here's the thing: disciples aren't born, aren't made is a better way to say it. Disciples aren't made on accident. It takes intentionality and purpose. And so, keep prayer, your walk with the Lord, priority. People, next. Ministry is all about people. And we talked about your family, but your volunteers, the kids, the families, and so on. And then 3rd P, programs. Kids ministry, can't get away from it. Kids ministry is very, very programmatic, right? Programs. One Sunday gets done, you start working on the next Sunday. So let me draw it for you this way. Okay, let me get to a new sheet of paper on my clipboard. Hopefully y'all can see this, and this may be mirrored. I don't know how it's showing up for you on Zoom. But in the middle of this triangle, I'm going to put priorities. Your 3 priorities. What needs to be at the top? What needs to be the most important? Prayer, or your walk with the Lord. Okay. Then people. And then programs. Okay. People, prayer, programs. Y'all got this? Okay. Good to see some of you that just logged in. Hey, Debbie, Ellen, good to see y'all. Okay, people, prayer programs. But here's what will happen if we're not careful. This thing gets flipped upside down, right? And we spend so much time on the programs, so much time recruiting and working with our volunteers and chasing our kids around here and there, that our walk with the Lord gets put at the bottom. And look at this triangle when it's upside down. Not stable, right? Not stable. I mean, it's ready to fall over. So if you want real stability in your ministry, you've got to have a solid foundation, okay? And that solid foundation happens when you keep the Lord first. Okay, there's your sermon for the day. Now it's time to pass the offering plate. Okay, well, we won't pass the offering plate, but we will get to Q&A. KidzMatter Pro, thank you for being a part of KidzMatter Pro. Some of you I know are brand new to KidzMatter Pro. You just joined at the KidzMatter conference. If you're brand new to KidzMatter Pro, let me encourage you. I hope that you have been able to log into the membership site at kidzmatter.com. Please, please, please make sure to take a few minutes and watch the 4 success path videos at the top of the membership site. When you go to kidzmatter.com and you log in to the KidzMatter Pro membership site, at the very top are 4 success path videos. They teach you the KidzMatter playbook. They teach you how the secret sauce to leading a growing, healthy ministry, that it comes in having 3 foundations in place. You being a healthy leader, having a growing team. Sorry, can't talk. Okay, you need to be a growing leader, a growing, healthy leader. Then you need to have a team that's engaged and on board and passionate. And then you need to have good, solid systems in place. Team or a leader, a team, and systems. And from those come these 12 habits or progress points. And that's what we talk about through the year in KidzMatter Pro. So if you've not watched those videos, please watch those. I also take time in those videos to tell you what to expect as a member of KidzMatter Pro. You know, we release new stuff every week on the membership site. This week, we released a brand new masterclass. And next week will come our KidzMatter Pro members only podcast. So make sure to watch those 4 success path videos, please. Now, I want to get into Q&A. So this is our first time that we've done open office hours in KidzMatter Pro. I hope that you brought some questions with you. And I would love to, if you have a question, do you see how you can raise your hand on here? I don't use that feature a whole lot, but yeah, on mine it says react. If you have a question, can you raise your hand? Let's try that and see if it works. I've got a little button that says react. I don't know if you can see that, but when I click it, it lets me. Okay, Debbie, you figured it out. Okay, Debbie, unmute your microphone. You are the first one. First of all, how have you been, Debbie? You good?
I'm good.
Yeah?
It's fall break here, so
Nice. Any fall break
it's
plans?
nice.
Are you just chilling or taking any time off?
No, just things are a little slower. We didn't have Wednesday nights, so
Nice.
a little less.
Probably felt a
But
little weird
we
last
have
night.
a fall festival in a week, so
Okay, so you
it's
have
a
work
good
to
week.
do.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Debbie,
Yeah.
it's great to
There's
see
always
you.
something.
All right, what's your question, Debbie? Let's talk about it.
Okay. I guess my question would be if you feel like your team, the passionate team
Yeah.
on that second circle,
Yes.
if you have a team, but you don't feel like they're passionate about
Yeah.
your ministry and they're not, because they're all parents, so they're all busy and
Yeah.
are gone, especially a lot with sports, and so
Definitely.
how do you
Yeah, I think, Debbie, that's a great question. So here's the challenge that we all face, right? You're part of a program like KidzMatter Pro, y'all are, or you come to the KidzMatter conference, or you're the leader, and so you get it. And there are times where you see the vision, you've got the passion for the ministry, you recognize that it's not just childcare, slot filling, that this is ministry. How do you get your team there? Especially when, as Debbie said, hers are parents, they're busy, they've got a million things going on. A couple quick thoughts. One is we each have to remember that first and foremost, it's our job to communicate that vision out. So they're not going to get it by just the fact that they've signed up to be on our team. So I have to own that as a leader, and Debbie, you're 5 steps in that direction because you recognize the need for this. As a leader, God has given me a vision, a passion. I have to communicate it. So that's step number 1. Otherwise, you'll bang your head against the wall and be like, why don't these people get it? Why aren't they as excited as I am? Right? It's my job. I've got to own it. I am the owner of the vision, and I've got to make sure that I see that. Second, I've got to constantly be sharing the vision. Constantly. It has to be more than just an appreciation Sunday or a once a year meeting or a ministry fair Sunday. It's got to be a weekly thing. Okay. You've got to remember that it's got to be ongoing. Third, I would say this, that you share the vision one person at a time is where you're going to be the most effective. If you have an appreciation, let's say you have an appreciation event every year, that's great. Serve dinner for your volunteers, let them know that what they do is important. But and there is nothing at all wrong with that. But I'm gonna really try to focus on one person every week. And I'm gonna speak vision into that person. It might be that where did this book go? That you get a handful of these and you pass them around if you have a large team. If you've got a smaller team, these are cheap enough that you can buy one for everybody. But instead of just giving them to everybody on one Sunday and saying, please read this, maybe you give one to, okay, 1 second. Okay, I'm getting a little background noise, so I'm muting everybody. Maybe what you do is a handwritten card and you say, hey, Janice, thank you for being on our team. This is a book I stumbled on. I would love it if you would read this and give me your feedback. And you do that for one person every week. The thing is that we all have to make this one of our priorities in ministry is sharing the vision, because Sean Lovejoy, who has a great book called Be Mean About Vision, he talks about how vision leaks. And in other words, it's kind of like a balloon. So with time, that balloon leaks and it loses its air. It's a slow leak, but it loses its air. And your team, they can get the vision, but it's going to leak with time. And so you've got to constantly be adding to that, adding air to that balloon and speaking over it. So Deb, I hope that helps you. To recap, we all have to own it, that passion, that vision. We all have to realize that we're the owners of the vision. It's our job to communicate it out. Let's communicate it out one person at a time. Maybe you focus on one leader at a time. Like this week, I want to do something to remind Corey that what he is doing is hugely important. And it might be giving him a book. It might be a handwritten card, reminding them what they're doing is important. It might be a text message, but one person at a time, I'm going to remind them what they're doing is important. And then remember that vision leaks with time. And so you might have brought your team to the KidzMatter conference and they're fired up right now, but that vision is going to leak with time, just like a balloon loses its air. So I've got to constantly be speaking into the vision. All right, hope that helped you. All right, Erin, you're up. What's up, Erin? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
All right. So I'm not the children's ministry director. I'm under the children's ministry director, and this is my third boss in 3 years. Our children's ministry doesn't have a vision, and it's not my place to set a vision, even though I'm communicating to the new boss. we need to make sure we have a vision. We need to share with people what's our point. And we actually have new head leadership also. So this vision thing keeps popping up for me and I keep seeing it. So what do you do with that when you're not the one that can set the vision and like the entire church right now is visionless?
Yeah, that's tough. So do you report to a youth pastor or a children's ministry director or the pastor? Who are you reporting to?
The children's ministry director.
Okay, yeah. Is this person on staff at the church?
They are on staff. We're all on staff, but
Okay,
like I said, it's the third new boss in 3 years.
that makes sense. Yes. Yeah, so how do you influence up, especially when there's a lot of change happening just beyond your direct report, but it sounds like the church as a whole? I would, a couple random thoughts that come to my mind. One, constantly be sharing with your leader, what God is showing you and what God is doing in your life and what God is teaching you. Doesn't mean that you have to be bugging them every day with, hey, I just read this, but I would, as much as you can, hey, God is speaking to me about this. I just read this book. Share what God is doing in your life, and you choose to be growing yourself. And you're doing that. You're on a KidzMatter. You're part of KidzMatter PRO. You're on this call, and I affirm you for that. I would also make this a matter of prayer. Probably should have said that to begin with, but pray about this. You probably are. Lord, you know the desire in my heart. You know where we're at. Would you do a work that only you can do? I would love to see, Aaron, I don't know if your leader would be open to this, but I would love to see your leader, your supervisor, the children's director, come to the conference, be a part of KidzMatter PRO, and I would be willing to gift them with that if that would help. Do they come to the KidzMatter conference?
The last 2 years I've came by myself, but I came back so excited because my husband and children went with me this year, and my leader was like, if we can get $95 tickets, we're getting them. So I'm bringing both my director and my contemporary that works with our nursery kids.
That's awesome. I love that. That'll be huge. That's a year away. That's a problem, but that'll be huge. Yeah. If your children's ministry leader or your direct report would be willing to try KidzMatter PRO, what you could say is, hey, Ryan offered some of us the ability to bless someone with a membership to KidzMatter PRO. I'm a part of this. I have enjoyed it so far. I've learned from it. What do you think about doing this together? And it would be free for you, and see what they say. And if they say yes, let's give them a membership to KidzMatter, him or her, a membership to KidzMatter PRO, where you guys could do this together and see what she thinks about it. Are you willing to try that?
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And is it a he or she?
It's a she. Her name's
Okay.
Lindsay.
Yeah, if she is willing to do it, then email me and we'll hook her up with a free membership. And maybe you could be like, just do some small things like, hey, I'm getting ready to watch these 4 Success Path videos. Do you want to watch them together, or do you want to watch them this week and I'll watch them and then talk about it next week? Do you want to jump on the coaching session together that's coming in a few weeks? See if that helps. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, good to see everybody. We've got more of you jumping on. If you're just jumping on, we're doing some Q&A. I had 2, but I answered them. Great. All right, Jennifer. That is wonderful. I'm glad I answered your question.
I have a question.
Yes. All right. Is this Felicia? Or
Yeah.
who is this? Felicia.
Yeah, Felicia.
Awesome.
I'm just doing this good old school drop off real quick.
No, hey, you're good. Where are you calling from, Felicia?
From Gresham, Oregon.
Nice. All right, good deal. Have you already
So,
dropped off, or are you getting ready to drop off?
I just dropped off because I didn't want to bless you guys with all the noise in the car.
All good. All right. Well, Felicia, what's your question?
So I'm curious. We're fairly close to like Portland, Oregon, and we're facing a lot of like gender identity issues within our kids ministry area. And I'm just curious what resources are out there to navigate that well. Because we obviously don't want to cause church hurt, but we also don't want to, affirm, but we don't want to not love. So it just feels like an issue that we just need some support in.
100%. Okay, that is a great question. And I am trying to Google something as we speak, because first of all, that is a reality we all have to wrestle with. We're talking more and more about this at the KidzMatter conference, gender confusion, gender identity, and how do we help kids navigate this? I think there are some really good resources out there. I think there's an organization that is putting out some amazing resources, and that is Answers in Genesis. They have a few kids books that okay, here's the page I was looking for. Sorry, I don't know if any of you are like me and you cannot talk and type at the same time, but I cannot talk and type at the same time. Okay, if you go to answersingenesis.org, trying to see if I can find it. They have a few really good kids books that we have them at home. I don't have them here in the office. I wish I did. I would go get them to show them to you. But I would, I just I went to answersingenesis.org, and in their search put identity, gender confusion. And there are a lot of resources for adults and kids. So I would check out answersingenesis.org. Mark Harper has a good curriculum. So, his ministry is Super Church. Let me Google that real quick. Get you the name of that. Who Am I think is the name of that series. Yeah, helping Christian kids navigate gender identity. I'll drop this into the chat for everybody. Okay, you all see that in the meeting group chat? Okay, I think you got that link. That is a 4-week teaching series that is very well done. I am on Answers in Genesis. I really want to find these kids' books. And as soon as we hang up, I'll find them. But I suppose if you spend a few minutes, let me drop in the website to answersingenesis.org. Their team does a really, really good job with this. Some of these issues can seem a little, I think, Jen, you found it. Okay, let me click it. That is it, Jen. Okay. Why did God make me a boy? Why did God make me a girl? Yes. These are the books. I highly, highly recommend them. They are great resources for kids and families on gender identity. And what can take a lot of the pressure off on some of these hot topics is reminding ourselves that God wrote a book, and it is our authority for everything. And so, we can love everybody, yes, but when it comes to some of these sensitive topics, hey, what does the Bible say? And this is what the Bible says, and this is our authority. So I think Answers in Genesis, Mark Harper, I feel like we had a few other resource providers at the conference that had resources around this, but they're slipping my brain. If anybody knows of any, feel free to drop them into the chat. Hope that helped you, Felicia. Those Answers books, Why Did God Make Me a Boy? Why Did God Make Me a Girl? That's $15 well spent that will help you as you help the kids navigate these issues.
Thank you so much. We have a small but mighty team, so I'm like, I just don't have time to waste. So I was like,
100%.
I knew you would know the answer.
Yep. Good. Yep. That's a great question. Thank you, Felicia. All right. Emmeline has a question on the chat. Her video and audio isn't working, so she's texting it. Okay. My team always gets on me about not delegating or asking for help from them. But then when I do, no one shows up, which then instills me not to ask for more help. I get that. I have a few projects going on right now that I really want help on, and no one has shown up. What do I do? This is our fall break week, so I had some cleaning projects and a few other things, and a ton of them did not get done. How do I go about getting people on my team to help me do some behind the scenes work? I can't do it all on my own. It's been causing burnout in me. Yes. Okay, so delegating is very, very important. I think we all understand that, but we all don't always do it for a variety of reasons. And it may be like Emmeline, that you're like, you have tried to ask for help in the past and people don't show up. It might be that you have asked for help in the past, you have delegated work, and then people have dropped the ball. And you're like, I'm not going to do that again. I'll make sure it gets done right by doing it myself. Sometimes we don't delegate because we are insecure and we want to do it ourselves because we want the recognition of that, or we want the pastor to see that we're busy, or we want spotlight. Although you may not, that may seem very cold. It's just the reality that a lot of times insecurity drives us to want to overachieve and do things ourselves. The reality is that as a leader, if you're going to do more, you have to delegate your work, because we each only have 24 hours in a day. Whether you are Debbie Bennett or April on here, or Jennifer or Emmeline, or you're the president of the United States, we each only have 24 hours in a day. So if we're going to get more done, it's going to require us to use other people's time. And we do that by delegating. Emmeline, I would do a few things. I would each of us need to look at our team. Trying to see if I have any blank paper. Okay, here's a blank sheet of paper. I would look at the makeup of your team. Whether your team is composed of 5 people, or whether your team is composed of 25 people, or 55 people, or 105 people, look at your team and look at how you have your team structured. Now, those of you that have absorbed much of my content, you have seen this triangle 50 times, and I apologize. But let me just take 3 minutes for Emmeline's sake and for all of yours. I think this will help each of you. There are 4 groups of people in your ministry. Okay. You have at the bottom, well, I'll start at the top. This is what you want. Now, this may not exist right now for you, but this is what I want for you and what you should want for yourself. Okay. At the very top, you have your thinkers. Now, this is a smaller group. It's at the top of the triangle. It's the smallest piece of the triangle. These are the people that you are leaning on the most. These are the ones that, to Emmeline's point, that you can delegate something to and be confident that it's going to get done. You have your organizers. These are your team leads. I'll put team leads over here to the side. Maybe it's your early childhood director, your nursery director, small group director, midweek director, VBS director. Okay, these are your leaders. Then you have your volunteers right here. Your volunteers. These are the people that are showing up on Sunday. They're checking kids in. They're your small group leaders, your large group leaders. your caregivers in the nursery, those people. And then at the bottom, you have the crowd or the congregation. Or the pew sitters, the people that are sitting in the pews on Sundays that aren't serving yet. Now, your goal should be to constantly be moving people up, okay? You want to find people out in the crowd and you want to make them volunteers or your dream team, or whatever you call your volunteers. You want to find your volunteers that have leadership potential and you want to bring them up and you want them to become team leads or organizers. And then from your team leaders, you want to find a few shining stars and you want them to be thinkers, your dream team, the people that you can be vulnerable with, that you can pray with, that you can share your struggles with, that you can vision cast with. A lot of us, if we looked at our team is very flat. I did not bring enough paper with me. All right, so let me turn this sheet of paper over. Okay, this is you. This is everybody else. And you have one layer of leadership underneath you, and it's everybody. A lot of Kidman leaders function in this space. The challenge is that's a lot for one person to lead. Even if your ministry is small and you've got 20 kids on Sunday, or whether it's larger and you have 200 kids on Sunday, okay, you don't want everybody to be in one layer below you. You really need to focus on building something like this triangle, where you've got thinkers, organizers, your volunteers, and everybody else. Now, by the way, real quick, and then I'm going to get back into the topic of delegating. This is how Jesus organized his team, okay? Jesus had a small group. In fact, he had 3, Peter, James, and John. And he spent the most time, by the way, with Peter, James, and John. He really had one that was his beloved disciple, John, right? That he spent the most time with. But Peter, James, and John. Is there anything wrong with spending more time with a few of your leaders than everybody else? No. Jesus did that. You should do that too. You should identify your top few leaders, your dream team, that like, man, these are my thinkers, the people I lean on the most, and you should spend the most time with those. Then he had his organizers. I wish I had a different color Sharpie. This is the 12. And then he had the next group. It was the 70. Remember when he sent out the 70? And then he had everybody else. So look at your team. A lot of times, back to Emmeline's point, that I feel like I'm doing everything. It's because you are not structuring your ministry to delegate and to give things to other people. So if you should, and I'm going to tell you this, each one of you, you should not be the one running the Sam's Club and running the copy machine and getting the small group supplies ready and setting up for large group and getting pro presenter ready. If you are doing everything and scheduling and getting subs and making sure that there are labels in the printer for check-in on Sunday, if you are doing everything, you are setting yourself up for burnout first and foremost, and you are not giving yourself capacity for more, right? You need to find people on your team, even if your team is small. Again, some of you have a small team. You need to find 1 or 2 people that you can delegate to. They don't have to be on staff. They don't have to be paid by the church. But I promise you that there are people that can run that copy machine. And there are people that can help you organize that closet. Now, what about to Emmeline's point that I've tried to get people and then they don't show up? The truth is that's going to happen to all of us, right? So don't beat yourself up. It happens to me. And I'm sure if all of you could jump on here and you would nod your head and say, yep, that happens to me as well. Don't quit. Don't give up. I would make those, Emily, make those personal asks, make personal asks. Don't rely on a broadcast ask where you text everybody and you say, hey, I need some help on Saturday. Choose to go to people one at a time and ask, hey, could you help me on Saturday? Could you help me on Wednesday? Is there any chance that I could count on you to run copies for me every week? I don't care when you come by the church, but I need somebody to be in charge of running these copies every Sunday or passing out these attendance sheets before church starts. Make those personal asks, and it ought to help you. And then, Moline, don't lose heart. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep asking. I love what Jasmine said. Jasmine, great to see you. It was great to see you at the conference. You said, don't be afraid or don't be shy to ask. That was me. Yeah. And don't be afraid. I would say this too, Emmeline. Don't be shy to ask, and don't say no for other people. Don't say no for other people. You might think, well, there's no way that this person would do that. They're too busy. Don't say no for that person, right? The reality is I've been in church work long enough to know that if you're going to get things done, you get things done with busy people, right? It's the 80-20 rule that 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people, and those 20% of the people are busy. So I tell people all the time, if you want to get something done, find somebody who's busy. Don't look for somebody who's not doing anything. There's a reason they're not doing anything. Find people that are already busy and don't say no for them. And this kind of ties back to whoever it was, Debbie, that said, we talked about vision at the beginning. This is why you lead with vision. And you're like, hey, Miss Carolyn, I know that helping clean the supply closet might not seem like much, but actually it's huge because it's going to help us do A, B, and C. I know it may not seem like running the copies and getting the small group boxes ready is a big deal, but it's huge because by you doing this, it frees me up to start doing A, B, and C. Hope that helps you and encourages you, Emily. All right. Jen's got a question. Jen, thank you for being with us. How's it going, Jen?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. I see a few other folks from I see a few other Northwest Indiana folks on here. That's pretty exciting.
It is. Go Hoosiers.
That's right. That's right.
So, Jen, great to see you and hear your voice.
Yeah, thanks. I can't get my camera to work, so I am
it's all good.
Chiming in this way. I just am looking for a word on leading through some significant conflict. It's not necessarily with kids ministry, but it affects kids ministry because some of the volunteers are involved in some of the conflict. Mm-hmm. Obviously, leadership is working to resolve, but I just feel the last month or so has been really challenging as I lead alongside people who I know have had a fair share of their part in some, I think, unnecessary conflict. But either way, you love their children and yet you're frustrated with them.
Yes. Yes.
And I suppose just a word. I'm sure you've had some experience over all of your years of leading through conflict, leading your team positively. Some of them are not involved at all in the conflict, so you don't want to bring anybody into anything unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And then others are directly maybe the cause of the conflict. So I know it's pretty vague, little general.
Yeah. But... No, that's good, Jen. Thanks for being part of KidzMatter PRO and asking that question. Conflict is inevitable in ministry. As I look at some of you, you've been doing this a while. I mean, there are seasons where there is more conflict than others, but the reality is because we deal with people, we're going to be dealing with conflict. And if your ministry is doing something, you're going to have conflict. I remember in junior high science class, friction or movement causes friction. And so wherever there's movement and things happening, friction is going to be a result. And so if there's conflict, that can be a good thing in the sense that, hey, we're working with people. I mean, there's people in the church, so that's a good thing. We must have some movement happening in this ministry because friction is coming. So it's a positive thing. It's hard. That's a hard question to give specific advice on because every situation is different. So what I would encourage you to do is, get some guidance from somebody who knows enough that you can talk to and that you trust. So for me, I like going to my pastor for this because my pastor, the way his personality, he is a shepherd. He loves people. Most pastors are shepherds, but you have some pastors that are more driven and type A type, where they maybe they're shepherds, but they don't maybe have the heart of a shepherd like a lot of people do, where they really get into the weeds and understand people. My pastor does. And so I can talk to my pastor and be like, hey, I'm dealing with this and this with this family or these people or this volunteer, and I just need some counsel on this and some advice from you. If it's not your pastor, find somebody in your church or somebody that you trust. It can be somebody outside of your church that's another pastor that understands ministry, that you can pray with and seek counsel from. I know that's a little broad, Jen, but given the fact that every conflict and situation is different, I think my advice needs to be a little more broad, and that is don't feel the pressure to figure it all out on your own. Don't feel the weight that you've got to fix it all on your own. Get the help of your pastor or your supervisor or someone that you trust, that you can be somewhat vulnerable with, and that loves the Lord and loves people. Be like, how do you think I ought to handle this? And we know that the scripture says there is safety in the multitude of counselors. All right, who else has a question? Thank you for joining us for this coffee chat. This is the first time we've done this. Yep, April's got one. So glad that you're a part of KidzMatter Pro. Those of you that have just logged in, if you're new to KidzMatter Pro, I said this at the beginning, but please take time to watch those 4 Success Path videos that are at the top of the KidzMatter Pro membership site. They really will help you. I want this to be something that you get a lot of value from, and those are kind of the foundational videos to help you make the most of your membership in KidzMatter Pro. All right, April, how's it going?
It's going well. Sorry, I jumped in late.
You're good.
My question is, yeah, I'm good. Actually, really good.
Good.
My question is, so I have vision, I have structure in place, I have detailed descriptions of all the positions, but how do I get people to jump up to that leadership role or the leaders of others when everyone just kind of wants to be where they're at? We have a fantastic team. They love the kids. I just can't get those people to step up and be like, okay, I'm going to own this area. Like, I'd like, that's my struggle.
For sure. I mean, and I think we've all been there without knowing your people personally and the specific situations. Broad stroke, I would encourage you to identify, your leaders. Who are the ones that you feel like, boy, I really think this person, if they would say yes, they do a great job leading in this area. And then I would just really start by praying, Lord, I believe this person could do this. Would you put it on their heart like you put it on mine? And then spend some time one-on-one with that person and cast a little bit of vision and say, hey, what would you consider helping me in a leadership role? And this is what it looks like. I think a lot of people get afraid of leadership roles because everybody is afraid of the unknown and uncertainty. So as much as you could make it clear, like, hey, if you did this, before you give me a yes or no, first of all, I want you to know that I've been praying about this and I want you to pray about this. I'm not expecting a yes or no today, but I would love for you to consider this, and here's why. And then think through all of anything that would create some uncertainty. So here's what the expectations would be. Here's what I would need from you. Here's what you can expect from me as a leader and from me as the church. And I would love it if you would consider doing this. And if so, we'll walk down this journey together. We'll reevaluate it in 4 weeks and 6 or 8 weeks. If you don't feel like this is a good fit, no pressure, no hurt feelings. Would you prayerfully consider doing this? So that would be my advice to you, is pray about it. Pray that God would put it on. I start by identifying, what are the needs and who are the people I think could do this, and then pray about it. If God continues to confirm that in your heart, pray that he would start planting a seed in their heart, and then meet with them and say, you know what, I really believe that you would be a great fit for this. Before, I don't want a yes or no today. I'm going to ask you to pray about this, and maybe we can get back in a week or two. But I want to let you know this is what it would look like. And here's what would be expected. The expectations are, and here's what you can expect from us. I want to support you along the journey. Would you consider trying this? And anything you can do to take the uneasiness away and make it easier for them, because people are afraid of the unknown. We all are. And the reality is they're busy. And so a lot of times they might think, well, gosh, I don't know if I've got the time to do that. But if you really cast that vision, explain the expectations, I think you'll have a better chance of getting a yes. And then I would also, April, encourage you to tackle it one person at a time. So you may look at your ministry and you may think, gosh, right now, I need 4 leaders. Or you might even think, like, as you look at your entire volunteer team, I've got 8 empty spots. Don't worry about all 8 empty spots right now. Focus on one. And then when you get that one, focus on the next one. And so, April, I have 3 or 4 spots. You're like, boy, if I had a leader in these 3 or 4 areas, that would be a dream. Keep that on your radar, but don't just focus on one right now. Like, okay, I was going to focus on one. What would it be? Who would I go after? And pray that God would do a work in that person's heart. And hope that helps you, April.
That's very good. That's exactly what I need.
Okay.
You always make it sound so simple. That's why I love following you.
Well,
You always make it sound so. I'm like, why didn't I think of that?
Sometimes it's simple, but it's not always easy. That's for sure.
That's for sure. Thank you so
all right,
much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, Kristen, how's it going, Kristen?
I'm good.
Good. Where are you joining us from today?
North Carolina. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so I'm sorry if you can't hear me.
How did you guys fare through these storms? Were you all right?
Yeah, where we're located is between Charlotte and Raleigh, so we're further in.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for being part of KidzMatter PRO, Christian.
Thank you. I I've been a part of it, but I haven't been able to dive in as much as I've wanted to, just due to, all of the things. And kind of to go along with what you said, and I don't know if it's really a question. Maybe it's just needing encouragement because I've been growing leaders, and I've been in this role as the children's pastor for probably 11 years now, maybe 12.
That's awesome.
So I've been at this church for a while. I joined when the church was about 4 years old. So, we've grown, and our church is very heavy with children and families of multiples. Our pastors have 4 kids. So I think that's brought in a lot of families.
Yep, it will.
4 kids or more. So we have our children's ministry has always been booming. And so one of the challenges has always been volunteers and having enough volunteers for a classroom and And then we've grown and we've moved buildings and had building projects, so all of that. So it's all great things. And but then with those great things have been a lot of challenges as far as having enough people. And so I feel like sometimes I've been on like a spinning wheel of like I'm always searching for more and always wanting to grow the team. And then when we have more, so like recently, we've had 3 people on our team that had babies in the past month, so they're out. And then 3 people in the nursery have dealt with like parents, they're older, so they have parents that have had health challenges and they had to step out. And it's all at once. And so it feels like as soon as you get to a place where like I'm almost there, having a solid team, everybody, all the classrooms are full. Then I lose 8 people, and I know that recruiting requires me and other people on our team to be out and talking to the people. But then I find myself covering a hole so that we don't have to close a classroom, or so that people can be in there. So then I'm not out as much as I want to. And then I find that we have 2 services on a Sunday. And so I've had to make it a goal of mine to make sure that I go to at least 1 service. And there's been times that I haven't been able to go to a service. And I know that those seasons happen, and I've seen it happen, multiple times. And I know I'll get out of it. It's just been kind of challenging. And then I had one of my main leaders that were the top 3 that her and her husband moved and they are doing another ministry opportunity, which is great. But then it's like, this was one of my top people. This is somebody that I could hand off everything to, and they could run everything when I'm not there. Yeah. So it's just been a consistent, like constant. And I don't know if it's ever gonna not be this way, but just maybe some encouragement, or maybe something I'm overlooking that I need to focus in on. And yeah, so that's just really where I'm at. I wasn't really gonna say anything, but
no, I'm glad you did. Yeah, I'm glad you did. A few thoughts that came to my mind is first of all, that's awesome. You've been at the same church for 11 or 12 years in this role. You're a unicorn. Because that's not always the case. So way to go. You've got to make sure we all know this, we hear it over and over again, but hear it one more time. And as we've got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves first and foremost. And so it is so easy, especially for ministry leaders, to feed the sheep, care for people while we are starving and we're not being fed and we're not being cared for. So if you don't care for yourself, Christian, nobody else will. So it's your job to make sure your walk with the Lord is a priority, that you are getting the rest that you need, that you are growing professionally. You're part of KidzMatter PRO, which is great, that you are taking some time to get away. Keep that a priority, and also give yourself permission to remember that ministry comes in seasons, and the way you program can come in seasons. And so I don't know if this will help you, but as you were sharing earlier about, I've got a key leader that's gone and these people gone, there are times where I think it's good. Hey, if you normally do small groups and you're at a season where you don't have enough small group leaders, shake it up. And hey, we're going to take a month and we're just going to do large group for the whole time. And it requires less leaders. And that can be a positive thing where all the kids are together in a large group for the whole time. And we do some games that we don't normally do and some worship experiences that we don't normally do. So remember that your programs can fluctuate too as your leadership fluctuates. Don't beat yourself up if you have to change up the way that we've always done it or the way that we've historically done it. Keep taking care of yourself, Christian. Keep your walk with the Lord a priority. Going back to the beginning of the session, it's my walk with the Lord, prayer, and then people, then programs. Don't get those flipped or else we'll be in trouble. Well, friend, thank you for joining us today. If you are, you have nothing else to do for the next hour or two, in 30 minutes, I am doing a webinar with Planning Center. If any of you are Planning Center users, this is going to be a really good webinar. I'm going to drop the link into the chat, if I can find the chat. What we're going to talk about is, there's the chat, okay. And there's the link. We're going to talk about how to really leverage Planning Center as you do your fall events and holiday events. So if you currently use Planning Center, you'll find a lot of value in this training. If you really don't know about Planning Center, or you've thought about using Planning Center and you want to jump in for a little bit, I think you'll find a lot of value as well. So that webinar starts in 25 minutes. If you can't join us, but you want to get the recording, go ahead and register, because everybody who registers always gets the replay video to go back and watch on your own schedule. So there's a link if you want to join us in a little bit, about 25 minutes, for a webinar with Planning Center. Friends, thank you all for, Jen, you're welcome. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for being part of KidzMatter Pro. Thank you for doing what you do week after week to serve kids and families. We love you. We appreciate you. We're praying for you. And we'll do more of these open office hours. We'll do another one here in a few weeks. So I hope that you found some value today. Have a great day, everybody.